So I think that'll work. Thank you for waking us up, Rico. Good morning and welcome this morning to those here in the sanctuary and those online. I am Laura Shennum, Minister of Congregational Life here at First Unitarian Universalist Society of San Francisco. And I'm joined on the chancel this morning by our young adult and membership manager, Emma Wakeling, by Andreas Furstead, one of our young adults here at UUSF, and by Nick Kennan, one of our young adults from the UU Fellowship in Redwood City. We are grateful for those who work so diligently each week to make our spaces welcoming and beautiful, from our sextons to our flower committee to our greeters and our ushers. Thank you so much for all you do. Thank you to our choir, led by Mark Sumner, and our organist, Rachel Lang. In addition, we have presence online that is nurtured by our sound and camera crew, led by Jonathan Silk, as well as the person who monitors the chat. We are grateful for all those who maintain our spaces and take care of our children. We have so much to be grateful for every Sunday when we gather. If you are new and joining us today, then again, welcome, and we are so glad you joined us. I hope you were able to grab an order of service on your way in. If you're online, then the link to the order of service is in the chat or in the description of the service. This will help you follow along in our service, as well as provide events and ways for you to connect deeper with our congregation. In addition, towards the back, there's some frequently asked questions and tips that you can look over to see if some of those questions that you might have coming into the space are answered. And of course, anybody with a formal name tag, meaning that gets pinned on or anything like that, are able to answer any questions you might have, or at least point you in the direction where they might be answered. If you're online, there is somebody monitoring the chat, so feel free to pop questions there and they will be answered. Just a reminder, if you loved the music last week by Naomi Westwater, there will be a Squips concert after the service. There's an art reception with a lunch, and then the Squips concert, and Naomi will be here to provide beautiful music once again. As we continue our monthly theme, we're paying attention this month. Paying attention. And this Sunday, we're specifically paying to what our young adults can share with us. They recently gathered this past January for a weekend-long retreat in Pescadero and bring reflections of that time together, as well as their own Unitarian Universalist journey. Do you hear that, Jonathan? It's this mic now? Go to the other mic. I got to step on my tippy toes over here. Now, in the spirit of love and community, I invite you to bring the fullness of your heart into this time of gathering. May this time we spend together this morning re-energize us for the week ahead and what it calls us to do. Let us enter into a time of worship, a time we set aside to honor the worth of this community and this faith and what it brings to our lives. Let's light our chalice. If you are at home and have a chalice to light, I invite you to do so now. Please join me in our chalice lighting words as printed in your order of service. We light this chalice for the light of truth, the warmth of love, and the fire of commitment. We light this symbol of our faith as we gather together. Please rise and body your spirit to sing our opening hymn, number 346, Come Sing a Song With Me.
Sing a Don't sit down. I invite you to greet one another and share what fun thing you may have done this past week.
All right, let us come back together. Let us gather back together, please. I have a surprise for you. A surprise story time. It wasn't listed in the order of service, and that was my oversight for not seeing that it wasn't listed. So you get a story this morning. And it's an important story. It was a story lifted up by our young adults that they wanted to share, that they remembered from me telling it at one other point in the year, maybe this year or last year, and they thought it was a good story for us to remember. I have a little problem, said the bear. I have a little problem, said the bear. You see, of course, said the inventor. I know exactly what you need. A heavy bear like you needs to feel lighter, and I have just the thing. He got a pair of wings from his workshop and fastened them to the bear's shoulders. Said the bear. Then he shrugged and went along looking worried. I have a little problem, said the bear. You see, indeed, I do, said the tailor. Your wings are very, very handsome, but you need a scarf. And he wound a long scarf around and around the bear's neck. said the bear. Then he shrugged and went along, looking worried. I have a little problem, said the bear. You? I'm just the man you're looking for, said the hatter. Now don't say a word, I have just the thing for you, and he placed a fine hat with a feather on the bear's head. Said the bear, and he went along, continuing to look worried. I have a problem, said the street vendor, but I have the cure. This little charm will bring you good luck wherever you go. And he hung a necklace that was a little too heavy on the bear's neck. Said the bear, and he started going along. Said the bear. Well, I can see that you have a problem, said the eye doctor. That's why I'm here. She placed a pair of glasses on the bear's nose. Now, isn't that better? Said the bear, and he went along. I have, said the bear, a little problem, said the shopkeeper. Well, never you worry, my dear. This honey will sweeten up your life in no time. And she handed the bear a jar of honey. Said the bear. Then he trudged up the hill. The bear stopped. He looked back over the town and shook his head. He was worn out. The bear took off the wings, unwound the scarf, took off the hat, took off the heavy necklace and the glasses, and set down the honey. Then he sat down on the hill and he sighed. What's the matter? Said the fly on a blade of grass beside him. I don't want to talk about it, said the bear. No one listens to me anyway. I'm listening, said the fly. Tell me about it. Well, I have a little problem, said the bear. You see, I'm afraid of the dark alone in my cave. There are no other bears around for miles, and I don't know anyone who wants to sleep in my cave with me. I dread the darkness all day long. That is really a problem, said the fly, but I have a solution. It just so happens that I'm looking for somewhere to live. A bear's cave sounds very cozy. I could move in with you. What do you say? Said the bear. I feel better already. So the fly hopped onto the bear's shoulder, where she made herself comfortable, and they went off together, looking happy. So I share this story with you because Emma and I get so many requests for our youth and young adults to be part of activities here at the church. And that's lovely. And it's wonderful that you want to invite young adults and our youth into these activities. And they need to be based in relationship. They need to be based in a way that you are connecting with them, not just requesting or not listening. And so I encourage you, through the stories that you hear today, through the people that you see in the sanctuary and in our courtyard, our young adults, build relationships with them. They're really cool people. Emma?
We ready? Okay. Please rise in body or in spirit and join us in saying our unison covenant, which is printed in your order of service. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its prayer. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in freedom, and to help one another.
Good morning. Hopefully we won't be visited by the microphone ghost this morning, like I have every time I've been up here this month. I'm Chantel. I'm the co-chair for our annual giving drive, along with Judy Payne, who isn't able to join us here this morning. As of today, March 22nd, we've received 111 pledges, totaling $496,833, which is 60% of our goal, so round of applause. We have 2 Sundays left, including this one. So we want to get to 100% by the end of this month. Just looking at our member participation, 97 households have pledged, which is about 46% of our members. So we still have over 50% of our members that haven't pledged, but I trust you that you're gonna do it today, because we have an incentive. If you pledge by the end of today, you'll be entered into the drawing for the Tahoe cabin. Cue Jonathan. A huge thank you to Marty for this donation. And we'll be doing a drawing if you pledge by the end of today. The drawing will actually be next week after the service. Where we're having a fire and ice party that we'll like to invite you to. But just to talk about the cabin just a little bit, it is a family cabin with 2 bedrooms, a large loft and deck. It sleeps up to 8 people, so you can bring the family. It is dog friendly, though Marty does ask that you don't bring any dogs that shed a lot, because that's gonna be a lot to clean up. But fully equipped kitchen, parks up to 3 cars, and it's located 1 block off of a lake on the North Shore of Tahoe. So definitely enter by the end of today. We'll have a booth right outside after the service where you can make your pledge for this year. And it's just your pledge. You don't have to give today. You just have to make your pledge. So don't think that you have to give today. But you can still donate and you can still pledge after today, but you won't be entered into the drawing. So it's important to get that in today. Once again, second thank you to Marty for donating this. He's been doing that every year for quite a while now, and it's been a great contribution. So huge thank you to Marty. All right, and then we'd actually like to invite you next week after the service to our fire and ice themed party after church. I've heard there'll be ice cream and a sparkly, fiery surprise. So we'll also be announcing the winner of the Tahoe retreat. So if you've already pledged, thank you. And if you haven't yet, we invite you to dig deep. Every pledge matters. Every single one helps carry this community forward. And today's the day to get entered in that drawing, so donate after the service today. Thank you.
Thank you, Chantel. We will now have our offering. During the month of our Canvas Drive, our offering goes to the ministries here at the church. So we will now collect our pledge in grateful appreciation.
Hello, everyone. My name's Vivian. I'm a member of UUSF and a young adult. In fact, perhaps the newest member of UUSF. Reverend Laura asked me to speak today about my journey to becoming a member. I first came to UUSF in March of 2024. My grandma, Nancy Smith, had recently passed away. She was my last grandparent, and it was a generational change not to have any grandparents left. I felt totally adrift without their guidance, and I felt that I needed a spiritual community to help give me that guidance, as well as to help me through those early, intense days of mourning. I met with Reverend Laura and became more involved with the church, especially through the young adults group. I started to join the Soul Matters group that Emma Wakeling runs for young adults every other Tuesday night. And over the course of a year or so, we went through topics ranging from sincerity to resilience, gratitude, and kindness. After about that first year, I started contemplating membership this fall. By that point, I was involved within multiple groups within the church, not only the Tuesday evening young adult group, but also the Wednesday morning vigils. I'd become friends with a few of the young adults outside of church too, and had the privilege to attend the young adult retreat that we'll hear more about later this service. I realized that UUSF was more than a place I wanted to drop in and out of. It was a community that I wanted to be part of and also to contribute to. Overall, it took me about 2 years from first walking through the doors to becoming a member, which I know is longer than some and shorter than others. But I think that's a very UU thing, that we all walk our own paths, and I'm glad that this community is a part of mine.
I now invite you into a time of prayer and meditation. Settle into your seat. Feel yourself grounded in the space. Let your shoulders loosen. And soften your gaze or close your eyes. Let us pray. Spirit of love and compassion, we come to you in a time of chaos, in a time of war, in a time of uncertainty. We lift up the names and the spirits of all those who have died through ice, through the wars, through the continued violence in our society and in our world. May they find rest and peace in your love. Remind us we are co-creators with you in this world and in this community. Remind us on the days it is hard to see the beauty, the love, and the justice, that it is there for us to help cultivate and grow. Remind us we are not alone in this co-creation. We have each other and allies who journey with us. Most importantly, may we resist the temptation to demonize and grow our own hate due to the actions of others. Instead, may we remember to center love in our actions and responses, a love that is fierce and unwavering in its fight for justice. Amen. Now let us tune into the still small voice in each of us and listen to what it needs at this time in our lives. This is a time to honor the memory of a loved one you may have lost or whose presence is felt deeply. We invite you to stand or place a hand over your heart as a silent witness to that loss. This world doesn't always make space to acknowledge and hold these losses, but they are so present to us.
Good morning. My name's Emma. As Laura said, I'm the Membership and Young Adult Manager here at UUSF. And I just wanted to share, before we get into what cat, drool, and brambles means, I wanted to share what we've been doing here at UUSF to develop and grow our young adult community and some lessons that I've learned since I was welcomed into this role 2 years ago. A question that I usually ask people who are visiting for the first time is, what is it that you're hoping to find at UUSF? And I'd like everybody here to take some time now to think about this question for yourself. Maybe this is your first time visiting. If so, welcome. Maybe you've been coming for a while now, or you've been a member for decades. If so, welcome back. Whatever your history here, take a moment now to think about your reason for first coming through the front door or joining us on our live stream. So, by a show of hands, how many of you came here looking for community? Okay, yeah, quite a few. Seeking community is one of the top reasons that people give me when I ask that question, although, of course, there are other things as well, such as spiritual growth or getting involved in social justice. But community is often the first thing mentioned. And I found that to be true across all age ranges, including our young adults. So why a 20s and 30s ministry then, if many of us are here looking for the same thing? And that's when you get into the reason as to why somebody is looking for community, the particular circumstances they're in, the challenges they might be facing. And that's where being in an affinity group, like the young adult group, or other groups here at UUSF, like the men's group, BIPOC group, or our newly reforming LGBTQI+ group, that can be really supportive and nourishing. The 20s and 30s ministry offers a way to be in community with our peers, to walk together in this journey of figuring out who we are and what we want to be at this stage in our lives. And because many UU congregations, including our own, are mostly made up of folks who are older, creating a dedicated space and programming for young adults to be in community together is really valuable. So while I also believe that intergenerational spaces like ours, where you get to be inspired by and hear new perspectives from people in all walks of life and different stages to you, from our youth to our elders, is really important and actually pretty rare. We all know that feeling of connecting with people who just get what it is that you're going through without having to explain. And that sense of belonging is what we all deserve and that we're striving to create here for people of all backgrounds. And when I first began in this role, I was lucky that UU San Francisco had already recognized the importance of investing in young adult programming before me. UUSF had had a young adult coordinator, Joe Chapeau, shout out Joe, wherever you are, who had been coordinating the programming here. And this work meant that when I started, we had an incredible group of young adult leaders across the community on the board as worship associates, working on committees and engaged in lots of types of church life. But despite these successes, one thing I found looking at our data and talking to people was that we had a lot of young adults visiting us on Sundays, but not really engaging beyond a couple of their first visits. So we know that young adults are finding us and taking that often kind of scary step of walking through the doors for the first time, but maybe not finding what they're looking for. So our goal has been to give more diverse opportunities for young adults in which to build community. We continue to offer our popular monthly lunch outings, as well as additional social gatherings based on people's ideas, cultural events, hikes, volunteering opportunities, and helping our young adults in leading activities themselves, like the spooky Blood on the Clock Tower games that Maggie up in the choir has been leading for us. We also wanted to offer more opportunities for spiritual development and for spiritual practice. There are a lot of places in this city that you can go to look for community. We're very blessed here. But they come here, and that's because they're looking to have deeper, more meaningful connections and experiences than you might find at, say, joining a trivia night team. Although, if anyone here has joined a trivia team and they found real spiritual community, I'd love to hear more about it, so come talk to me afterwards. But we offer a spiritual discussion group twice a month that Viv is a part of and mentioned, which is a really small but tight-knit community of young adults where we kind of ponder the big questions, hold each other's joys and sorrows, and learn from each other. I know for myself and the other participants how much we get out of those conversations. So I warmly invite anybody here to join a session if you're interested. Rev Laura has also been offering classes based on what she's hearing from our young adults, from the Creating Your Own Theology class last year to monthly spiritual practice groups that she's currently leading. We're developing opportunities for the community to participate in that deeper, meaning-making work. Another big part of my role for young adults, as well as our other kind of newcomers, is simply looks like following up with people and checking in, inviting them to our programming warmly, letting people we haven't seen in a while know that we miss seeing them, and inviting them to an activity that they might enjoy. While there is a simple practicality to this, personal reminders can be helpful when our lives are so busy and we have so many obligations. But it's also more than that. It's an act that says, you're welcome here, you're valued, there is a place for you in this community if you want it. It's been really wonderful to see how the young adult community has grown and developed since I started here. I'm so proud of all the ways that young adults are shaping UUSF and leading change. One of the reasons we decided to offer the retreat was that we're going to talk about in this service was as a way to celebrate our thriving young adult community and to give young adults the time and space to deepen connections in a way that is so often not possible in the regular routines of our lives. And I feel like I've learned so much in this role, but there are two things that I did want to share with you today. Number one, this is kind of obvious, but bears repeating. Building community takes time and consistent effort and commitment. It takes time for new programming to build momentum. It takes time to experiment with different ways of doing things, seeing what works and what doesn't. And for those who are coming here and seeking community and belonging, know that this will take time and participation from you too. It takes time to make space in your life, to get involved, to make new routines, to find your place in our large community, and to get to know people. And at the end of the day, when we're developing community, we all need to move at the speed of trust. This is why having someone in a membership and young adult staff role is so important. It allows for that time and consistency to help people find the community that they are seeking. So thank you to everybody who has pledged and is planning to pledge to make my role and other staff roles possible. You truly are investing in young adults who are so in need of a faith community and who we need in our faith community as well. And finally, from my perspective, my personal experience, I've been involved in community building work for most of my adulthood, working with migrant women in mutual aid and environmental justice. But this is the first time that I've ever been involved in a spiritual community, and they hired me. How welcoming is that, right? But I found it to be such a gift. Since working here, I myself have developed spiritual practices that I never would have done otherwise, such as daily meditation and journaling. I get to have incredibly meaningful conversations about life's big questions on a regular basis. I get to hear the wisdom from our diverse community. I can better understand myself and others, and I've really learned about the power of the promises that we make to each other in community and what happens when we stick to our values when it gets hard and when conflict happens. I've really learned how nourishing it is to be in faith community. So I want to encourage others who are new here, who are thinking about getting involved or who've been on the periphery, to give it a try and give it some time. Come to an event, speak with a minister, speak with a lay leader, a member, a young person, one of the kids here. Try out a new group. See what happens when you regularly make time to come to service, or even listen to the service on our podcast or live stream if you can't wake up that early on Sundays. Lean in and make time. You might be surprised by how much it will change your life.
So this past January, UUSF hosted a young adult retreat at Venture Retreat Center in Pescadero, right outside Half Moon Bay. This was possible because of a generous grant by the Hinckley Fund that recognized our young adult group was growing and thriving. Emma and I wanted to create a space that provided sustenance and community for those who attended. The theme for the weekend was UUSF's guide, Young Adult Guide, to Being Human in 2026. Nothing small. We created opportunities for about 12 young adults who attended to explore being human in a holistic way. These opportunities were created in collaboration with the attendees, and we were able to offer yoga, led by Andreas, mindfulness, a beach hike, emotional intelligence exploration, difficult conversation skills, worship, and of course, games and karaoke. Meals were cooked collectively, and cleaning was always a group effort. We created a loving, supportive, joyful community in a short time that we came together. I think it is important to mention there were young adults from our congregation, UUSF, from the Unitarian Universalist Church of Berkeley, as well as the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Redwood City. So not everyone knew each other, and yet we were still able to form this organic community that has become important to each participant in a different way after they left. It's also important to note there were an abundance of cats at the retreat center. We thought we identified all of them, and then another one would show up. One cat, the one that you saw on, I think it was Oak's shoulders, drooled a lot and loved to sit on people's shoulders or laps. So by the end of the weekend, we all had some kind of coating of cat drool, either on our clothes or our skin. I was thrilled at one point. I had brought cards, these emotion cards, and they had taken the cards and they played a game with it where somebody would pick an emotion and then they would start asking questions. And some of them were pretty easy to figure out, like stressed or joyful, and others required a little bit more nuance, like overwhelmed and fulfilled. One of the questions that was asked when trying to figure out what the emotion was is it a positive or a negative emotion? At one point, somebody thought, a person said, is it a pasta emotion instead of positive? So it became a running joke to try to identify which emotions were pasta emotions. Overall, the weekend challenged our young adults to push beyond their comfort zones, to consider their roles in the churches they attend. And at UUSF, we've seen a result of this. Young adults are attending congregational meetings, becoming members, leading efforts and discussions about what is important in our community. And I had the honor and privilege to spend a weekend with our young adults, and it was truly a joy to do so. Again, I encourage you to find time to build relationship and connections. I guarantee you'll find some deep thinkers, some joyful companions, and some compassionate hearts.
Hello, everyone. I'm Andreas. I'm somewhat new to this congregation. But yeah, I'm going to read a poem that me, Olivia, and with some help from Emma wrote for the open mic at the retreat. The title of the poem is the same as the title of today's service, Drool and Brambles. Yeah, the first reference is to the Drool. The second is Brambles, so there's a little hiking during the retreat, and after each hike, we'll often come back with brambles covering our clothes. And it was a separate, like a community effort to kind of remove each other's brambles from each other's clothes, which was very cozy. But yeah, and the big poem is basically filled with other inside jokes, so I'm happy to explain them after the service if anyone's curious. But yeah, Drool and Brambles by Olivia, Andreas, and Emma. It began with a carpool, then came the cat drool. For breakfast, take a small break. Okay, I'll resume from the beginning. Drool and Brambles. It began with a carpool, then came the cat drool. For breakfast, we had a scramble, then I walked through a bramble. Sounds so violin made it worth the travelin'. Emma is a planning wizard.
But really, I just want to be a lizard.
We tried to make s'mores and became friends over chores. There's warmth in the yurt, while the outdoor shower makes us alert. Let's go to the venture for adventures until we all have dentures. We met Scarf on this retreat. She's a hard cat to beat. We did yoga in the sun. Thank you, UUSF, for all the fun.
Good morning, San Francisco. My name is Nick, and I'm excited to be with you here this morning. Going on a retreat with 13 complete strangers is not an opportunity I would have jumped at earlier in my life. I have some introverted tendencies, what can I say? The thought would have been anxiety-inducing. With no familiar faces to cling to, getting to know everyone would have seemed daunting. This is largely an issue consigned to the past. I'm not going to say 100%, I don't think it's that black and white, but largely an issue of the past. And one ingredient I believe as to why has been my nascent UU journey. I didn't grow up with any religion or church, and only started attending the Redwood City Fellowship 2 years ago. Like a primordial fish making those first tentative steps from sea to land, crossing those front doors that first Sunday 2 years ago in February undoubtedly charted new paths, futures, and possibilities, many of which that I'm sure will remain hidden until after the fact, when I look back on things. But one thing I am sure of is that it's helped me become a more outgoing person, more confident in these foreign environments. Because nothing says exposure therapy like flinging yourself into a church sanctuary with 100+ strangers and hoping for the best. The prospect of a weekend away with new people, and there are other variations and examples that come to mind in my life that fit the bill. Think like a run club or a board game meetup where I've only ever met them online before, are events I look forward to now. I crave the connection. I love observing all the fun little personality quirks and idiosyncrasies that make each person unique. I drink in the story shared, the life histories revealed bit by bit. I sense what an amazing gift this retreat is, both in a financial sense, yes, and thank you donors if you're out there listening and watching, but also relationally. To have everyone take time out of their busy lives to come hang out in the woods of Pescadero for 2 days is not an insignificant ask. And this gift framing can be expanded to pretty much any interaction. When family and friends take the time to share their life with yours and yours with theirs. This reflection is basically a very long-winded way of saying my love language is quality time, is what I've come to realize. That word time, the passage of time, and specifically its finite quantity, is something that crosses my mind more frequently these days. It shouldn't be surprising, it's only natural. But it can be easy to sweep these thoughts under the mental rug. They can be a bummer when you're just trying to get through the day. But I am getting older, and it intrudes in lighter moments, like when I'm in the car and I catch my reflection in the mirror, and I see these gray and white hairs that weren't there before. I'm gunning for that silver fox look eventually. And it descends in heavier moments with the passing of grandparents and family pets. Despite the efforts of quixotic billionaires who look like vampires straight out of the Twilight series, doggedly pursuing immortality, our days on this earth are numbered. Death, a universal reality. The consequence of this, once you've truly internalized those facts, are that it awakens you to the reality that the time we have is limited, a non-renewable resource, one that can't be squirreled away or saved at a magical bank. There's a match lit to the supply, and it's ever burning in the background. It's a commodity so precious and scarce that it can be difficult to fully articulate it sometimes. Sometimes in the moment, the weight of it can only escape our heart and manifest as a choked sob and a welling up of tears. Grief-laden that an encounter and chance meeting will be just that, a solitary moment in time as trajectories diverge. Yet also equal parts thankful that out of all the places and times in existence, to have had the improbable chance to cross paths. My favorite rendition of A Christmas Carol is the 1970 musical Scrooge. And in it, the ghost of Christmas Present says to Ebenezer Scrooge that there is never enough time to do or say all the things that we would wish. The thing is to try and do as much as you can in the time that you have. Life is short, and suddenly you're not here anymore. I agree with the jovial spirit's urgency, and I find myself, thinking over these finite, limits and wanting to be wise about what I spend my time on, how much I can fit in. And in practice, this can look like a lot of things. And it doesn't have to be as grandiose as quitting a job to try and then fit in more in the days and weeks. It's a very case-by-case basis, I want to be clear. I need income, and I don't plan on doing that anytime soon. And it's also worth mentioning on that our interactions in a job setting and the time there deserve the same reverence and grace we would give those on a UU retreat. We're all just people trying to get by at the end of the day. One thing I do try and do is fit in those extra visits with friends, even if it comes at the cost of an annoyingly long car trip. Because when you stack up the visits you might make, even with someone you're close to, stack them over the years ahead, it comes out to an astonishingly small amount of time. And our weekend at the Venture Retreat Center also provided an excellent template on how to go about fitting the most you can in the time that you have. Everyone embodied that being in the moment ethos, in the support we showed each other, in the questions we asked, in making sure that everyone was included, to make sure that circle was as wide as possible, all facilitated by being diligent about limiting our phone usage so that we can truly pay attention to each other. This month's theme is paying attention, and in the context of the limited time we have, it takes on a sacred duty to connect, commune, learn, love with all our might with the time given to us. I want everyone to be in the habit of appreciating each moment and experience and treating it like a washcloth or a dish rag, to wring it out. To wring it out and expel every droplet of laughter, every feeling, every fun fact, till there's nothing left. I haven't given that many reflections, so the sample size is quite small, but I seem to love ending on quotes, and this will be the case here as well. It's a meaty quote from British writer Jeff Foster that eloquently crystallizes many of these thoughts I've been having. It goes, "You will lose everything, your money, your power, your fame, your success, perhaps even your memories. Your looks will go, loved ones will die, your body will fall apart. Everything that seems permanent is impermanent and will be smashed. Experience will gradually, or not so gradually, strip away everything that it can strip away. Waking up means facing this reality with open eyes, no longer turning away. But right now, we stand on sacred and holy ground, for that which will be lost has not yet been lost. And realizing this is the key to unspeakable joy. Whoever or whatever is in your life right now has not yet been taken away from you. This might sound trivial, obvious, like nothing, but really is the key to everything, the why and how and wherefore of existence. Impermanence has already rendered everything and everyone around you so deeply holy and significant and worthy of your heartbreaking gratitude. Loss has already transfigured your life into an altar. And this young adult retreat, with all of its new friends of both the human and cat variety, is now a cherished part of my altar as I move through this world. Thank you.
Let's give them another round of applause to our young adults. Please rise and body our spirit for our closing hymn of the month, the number 1028, the Fire of Commitment found in your teal hymnal.
Well, hello to all of you here and to those of you on live stream. I always wonder where to look for a live stream, but hello. I'm Julia Wald.
Pick this microphone up so people can hear you. There you go.
Thank you, Cal. Our time together in worship is ending, but we can stay in community for a while this afternoon to share our insights and values and discuss with each other how to act on our beliefs. But first, I want to thank you all. Vivian, Nick, Andreas, thank you for sharing about the retreat. And Emma and Reverend Laura, thank you for leading us. I hope that after we leave the sanctuary and assemble in community, that we will talk about the ideas raised in this service and act on them. But first, there's another time of worship that you probably know about. It's written up in the flame and in your order of service. But to remind you, on April 3rd, there is going to be a Passover Seder led by Temple Or Shalom and UUS. It will be here, April 3rd, 5 to 8:30. You should read about it. There's a request that you bring food and that you come and that you enjoy yourself, so please do. Also, this afternoon, there is art to be had here, a time for experiencing beauty, which in this difficult time can be very helpful. First, there is visual art. The show is Unsprung Spring. I love the name, Unsprung Spring. There are paintings in the King's Room, paintings by Judy Giltleson, Mark Allen Brown, and Wendover Brown. There's a reception today. You can come and look at the art, talk about it, and there's even food. So do come. And as Reverend Laura said, there's music this afternoon. It's at 1:30 back here in the sanctuary. We're again going to hear Naomi Westwater. They have written the music and they will be singing and playing music. So I hope you'll come to that. And then there's creative art, kind of art. In the chapel this afternoon, you're invited to come and make posters and signs that you can hold up at the King's March next Saturday. So good. See you all in the courtyard. Thank you.
Thank you, Julia. I also wanted to lift up one other thing. There is work being done by your ministers, including our intern minister and our senior minister, Reverend Vanessa, in the community that you might not know about. Mark and Vanessa recently went to an iftar community celebration. Mark and I went to Sacramento to speak to the California Interscholastic Foundation about their policies that they were considering to limit transgender students playing in scholastic sports. And I want to lift up that today, our youth and our children are doing their service project, and their service project that they are working on today is to raise up Transgender Day of Visibility on March 31st. So it's not this Tuesday, but the following Tuesday. And they're going to be handing out stickers and flags for you to raise that awareness in a week as well. So look for their posters, look for the things that you can do to raise awareness as well. Okay. We now extinguish our chalice. The love and the spirit of this community will stay with us as we go forward into the week. Let us rise and body our spirit and join hands for our benediction.
Hello, hello. Okay, good. You hold my hand. May the spirit of this community, may the spirit of the young adults and their community commingle, collaborate, and spread joy today and in all days going forward. Amen.